Can you do the carnivore diet while you're in the Philippines? Let me tell you about my experience, and we'll be right back. The carnivore diet is a very popular diet these days, and a lot of popular celebrities do it. I think Joe Rogan has done it. He has the Joe Rogan podcast. Just a lot of people. If you look on YouTube for very long about dieting, you're going to see the carnivore diet. And I've been watching it for a long time. Just some people I know, one guy in particular, one of my best friends, his brother-in-law has been on carnivore for probably 2 years. Well, the carnivore diet has been gaining popularity, seems like every single day. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And all you have to do is just look up dieting on YouTube, and you're going to see either a vegan diet or you're going to see a carnivore diet. And there's a lot of diets in between. And, well, to be honest, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I needed to get in better health. And I was really concerned. If you watch the channel, you know, most of you know that I was gone from the Philippines for 4 months. And before I left, I'd been having some issues, which I'd covered in some previous videos. So if you want to go back and watch them, by all means, watch them. And if you're getting some value from the channel, please go down. If you haven't, please subscribe. We're just approaching 5,000 subscribers. I'm really proud of that. And make sure and click that notification bell so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. But back to the carnivore diet and my health condition when I was in the Philippines before. I wouldn't say I was in really bad health, but it really started to concern me. I went to, I talked about in some other videos about I'd had some issues. The hospital in Bangkok had told me that I had some very large gallstones, and that kind of got me to worrying. Anytime a doctor tells you something, it's like, oh, wow, late at night, you start thinking about, oh, do I have an attack coming on? Oh, is that pain normal? Should I feel, oh, my digestion's messed up? Do I have gallbladder issues? Where before I went to the doctor, I really hadn't thought about it. But they did the ultrasound on my abdomen, and they said, oh, you have some gallstones. So long story short, I went to the doctor for that, and I think I covered that in another video. So I'm kind of concerned about my health, and I had some blood tests done. I have some videos on that too. I didn't really talk about what the results were, but my last blood result when I was in my labs, result of my labs when I was in the Philippines, my A1C, which measures your diabetes, and it's supposed to be a good indicator of where your blood sugar levels have been, I think for the last month or 3 months, and my A1C was 7%. So I was concerned. The lady, the doctor, she said, your A1C is 7%. She reached back and she gave me a packet of pills, and she handed them to me and said, I want you to start taking these. And I said, well, what are they? I knew what they were. I knew where she was going with this, and she wanted me to take this pill that would reduce the insulin level or sugar level in my blood. I'm not a doctor, so don't take advice from me. I'm just telling you about my experience. So my A1C was 7%, and that's alarming because that's not pre-diabetic. That's diabetic. And I knew I had to do something. Well, it wasn't long, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I think I took 1 or 2 of the pills on 2 different days, and I said, I'm not going to do it. So, it concerned me, and I thought about it a lot. So I started looking for ways that I could improve my health. And it didn't take long, and we were back in the United States already. And so I'm watching YouTube one morning or one evening, I don't know, and I keep seeing stuff about this carnivore diet. I'd never really tried it before. I'd maybe eat meat for a couple of days, and, I just never stuck with it. And I said, well, this time I'm going to have to do something because I can't be diabetic. I can't have an A1C of 7% and just act like it didn't happen. I mean, people do that. That's just not me. I'm concerned about my health. I want to live a long life. And so therefore I had a lot of worry in my mind, and I think you could understand that. So that was one thing. My liver enzymes were way up, which means you have a fatty liver. And if you know what fatty liver is, it's just fat accumulation on your liver, and it just really prevents you. And again, I'm not a doctor, but from what I understand, that's called fatty liver disease, and that's what my doctor told me when I was back in the States earlier, like a year ago. He said, "Yeah, you have fatty liver disease, which means you have fat on your liver. It's not able to metabolize all the fat that's been sent to you, so to your liver in order to dissolve it." And I don't want to sound like I'm a doctor. I'm not, but this was my experience so far. So I decided July 25th. I just was that morning. I was just watching some videos, and I don't think I really decided at that point, but I thought, well, today I'm just not going to eat any carbs. I'm just not. I'm just going to quit carbs for now. I'm going to see how long I can go. Well, that was one day, and then 2 days went by, and I hadn't had any carbs. So at the same time, I'm kind of looking into this carnivore diet online, and the more I watched it, I began to seriously consider it. So I just never got off of it. And here's what I noticed, and I think my biggest issue is I love beer. Now, I wouldn't consider myself an alcoholic because I've been able to stop it for a long time at different times in my life, but I do know this: the wheat in the beer, wheat and barley, it releases sugar, and it's just like they say, it's like drinking a loaf of bread. It's the wheat, the gluten, and it just raises your blood sugar level. So that happening every day, basically, maybe 1 day, 2 days a week, I might not drink some beer, and nothing really to excess. Maybe at the most 4 to 5 sometimes, maybe a little bit more sometimes, but that's a rare occasion. So, but I had a habit of drinking beer every day. I can say it that way. And I had a pretty good sized belly on me, and I was about 233 pounds when I got back home to the U.S. And it's easy here. There's snacks available. There's cheap beer available. Not my favorite kind of beer in the world, but it was beer, and that's what I was used to. That was my habit to drink that. So, and then you have the snacks like the peanut type snacks, nagaraya. You have and the Philippines is just filled with breads and pastries, and everything's got sugar in it, from the coffee you drink in the morning until maybe a lemon tea that they sell in the restaurants. It's really sweet, very little lemon, and just so much sugar here. So I started July 25th, and no carbs. And I really can't remember, I think 2 times from July 25 to November 5 when I got here. I think we had got, if you're familiar with this franchise in the U.S., Jimmy John's has a great sandwich. And I ate 2 of those sandwiches in the stretch from July 25th all the way to November. And that was my carbs that I had. And I may have had a few beers over that, but I'm talking less than probably a 12 pack in the whole 4 months that I was in the U.S. And I could feel pretty much immediately that my inflammation started going down a little bit. I noticed that when what I would eat like eggs and bacon in the morning, or eggs and sausage in the morning, or eggs in air fried pork belly strips in the morning, which are just absolutely delicious. They said you can have salt. I love salt. And so basically any animal product you can eat. Now, I tried to stay away from cheese as much as I could. I might put some on an omelet, but I tried to limit the cheese and the dairy products too. They say the harder you go for red meat, the better off you're going to be on the carnivore diet. And basically drink water, which back in the U.S. I would drink these they used to call them LaCroix water. Now they've got bubbly. They've got several different varieties of this kind of flavored water, but that's what I would drink. And I was okay with that. And so in late October, I finally got a doctor's appointment in America, and my family physician that he's taken care of me for 20 years. And so I went in there, and I had blood work in the morning. And then at 9 o'clock, the doctor's supposed to come in and read your results. He was blown away. And I kind of was too, because I was really kind of nervous about my blood. and especially my A1C and my liver enzymes, because that liver enzyme number, the lower it gets, it's going to tell you whether you have fatty liver disease or not. And I knew I'd been already have been told that I had it. So I'm kind of a little shaky, but I got in there. I got my blood pressure taken. It was like in the doctor's office, 130 over, I think it was like 81. So not bad, especially for being up, moving around, and being in a doctor's office and being a little bit nervous. That was pretty good blood pressure. So I was happy about that. He was thrilled. He said, "Wow, you've lost about 25 pounds." I said, "Yeah." I didn't tell him what I was doing. Yeah, I've been working on it. I've been working on it since I've been back to the U.S. And so he was happy about that. And he said, "And wow, your liver enzymes, man, they have plummeted. They're in normal range, just normal as they can be." And again, that goes to your fatty liver disease, which is a whole part, a big component of what they call metabolic syndrome. And it's your body's inability to utilize the insulin and turn it into energy, and instead it just gets stored as fat. That's metabolic syndrome, just scratching the surface of it. Now, I can't really dig into a lot of it. I'm not a doctor again. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy who watches stuff on YouTube and reads. So, and I can read. So there you go. And then the big thing I just keep waiting for that other shoe to drop. Like, when's he going to say something about my A1C? Because I didn't want to take diabetes medicine. I just don't want to. I think there's things we can do. We can take charge of our own health, and we should take charge of our own health, especially in the Philippines. Most of the things that you have to do in your life, it's a do-it-yourself project. So I wanted to face my doctor in the Philippines the next time and just wave that A1C in, not in her face, but just show her how good I have been doing. But he hadn't told me yet. So finally, he came to the point and he said, "Wow, look at your A1C." And that my doctor in the Philippines, my blood test come out with a 7. He said, "You won't believe this, but you're at a 5.6 A1C." I was pretty stoked about that. I mean, I just felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and I thought this diet's working. Now I will say this: I didn't get the results. I don't have the numbers on the cholesterol. If I can find that out, I will. But that came in later. It was like a 24-hour deal, and they didn't have the test results in that morning. So they did say my cholesterol was high. You can make up your own mind about cholesterol. I can see all kinds of things say if you have high cholesterol, you're going to have heart disease. You're going to have cardiovascular issues. I've already got cardiovascular issues, and I take blood thinner, and I take high blood pressure medication, and I take a statin. So, I'm familiar with all that stuff. But the things I've been watching, and I'm not going to try to prove this point, but everything I've seen and the testing that they've done on patients that do the carnivore diet, yes, they're elevated. Their cholesterol levels, their especially LDL, is elevated, but they break it down a different way than they've been doing it for the last 30 years, and people are healthy. And actually, they said it doesn't really increase your risk of mortality by over it, whether you take a statin or you don't, by 1% to 1.5%, all cause mortality. So I'm still thinking about that, but I do know this. This shirt I bought in Iloilo City, and if you're an expat, if you're overweight, it's really hard to find clothes here in the Philippines. This I think is a triple X, and I didn't wear the shirt because I couldn't wear it, but now I wear it, and it just blows in the breeze. So, do I have more weight to lose? Yeah, I want to lose about another 20 pounds is what I'd like, and get down to about 180. But I'm right at 196 right now. So I'm very happy with that. And my biggest question was, can I do this diet in the Philippines? Because I was eating good good bacon, good sausage, grade A eggs. And then I would eat that, and I was eating twice a day. And I would get, most of the time, I'd get a big, nice, juicy ribeye. And boy, have the prices went up. But they're big, thick, fatty ribeyes. And I would eat probably a good portion of it. Or sometimes, some nights I'd eat the whole thing. That's all I would eat, And it's funny. It's like me and my wife were both on this. And it's funny because I wasn't hardly ever hungry. And I kind of dubbed the carnivore diet. It's like, if you've heard of Ozempic, it's that new fancy diabetes medicine that they inject, and people lose weight on it. I saw Sharon Osbourne on Bill Maher podcast, and she lost a lot of weight. She took that Ozempic, and it's about $1,000 a month. But being on the carnivore diet, eating the fattier cuts of red meat, it just took my hunger away, took my cravings completely away. I mean, there's times I was kind of concerned. How come I'm not hungry? We just get in such a habit of being hungry all the time and eating all the time. But when we get proper nutrition in our bodies, and your body gets adapted to burning fat. I mean, this is my experience. Have I done the studies? No. But I do know I'm not eating near as much, and here in the Philippines, I've even found a way to do it, because one thing I didn't really realize in the Philippines, the hamburger meat's really not that bad. I kind of thought it would be second rate. Actually, I think it cooks up better if you get it fresh from a good grocery store like Robinson's. That's where I buy mine. The hamburger meat is very good, very tasty, very little salt you have to put with it. Sometimes I'll mix other ingredients. I'll mix some herbs and spices in it, and I'll even put a little bit of ketchup on the side. Just maybe a teaspoon of ketchup and mustard. Mustard has no carbs. 1 teaspoon of ketchup doesn't have that many carbs. I think 6 carbs, maybe as high as 15. But I think I can tolerate that. I'm not looking for the quick weight loss. I'm just looking to steadily keep getting healthier and reduce that inflammation and reduce my metabolic syndrome is what I've been trying to do. So it's been working for me. I went to S&R here in Iloilo City. I think this is Monday or Tuesday, and I got a whole packet of their little ribeyes. They're really only about that thick, probably a good half to 3/4 of an inch at the most, probably a half. They're small, but cooked correctly, put salt on them. They're actually pretty tasty. I just had 2 for lunch. And it's a little more expensive to eat that way, but how expensive is the hospital is the way I look at it. How expensive is diabetes medicine? How expensive is high blood pressure medication? And all these things have come down. I'm not off yet. I'm not off any medication. I'm not trying to get off any medication necessarily. I just want to be healthy, and I want to keep my blood pressure levels in the proper place, because that helps you prevent a stroke. At least that's what I'm told. So anyway, hamburger. I've learned how to buy ground pork, and I put some seasonings in it, some sage, some thyme, some rosemary, some seasoning salt, mix all that up. And to me, it's just about as good as any sausage that I get back in America, and it's much fresher. And I know where it came from. I know who made it because I made it. So that's been helping me a lot. And I'm really glad. And I just wanted to share that. That's not something I've mentioned a couple times. My health is a little bit better. I'm not really exercising that much. I'm walking around out there on the property in Guimaras. We're getting plenty of exercise. My video's slowed down a little bit because, we spent the last 3 days out there. So, that's going to be a big part of the channel. And, I'm going to continue to post from Guimaras. And we're going to build us a little place out there. But this is about the carnivore diet. If you've ever tried the carnivore diet, or maybe you disagree with the carnivore, I want you to go down right now and put your 2 cents down in the comments section about if you had a carnivore diet experience. Has it helped you? Has it changed your life, or did you just couldn't stay on it? Maybe you're vegan. I've been vegan before. I went on, I call it a plant-based diet. I went on that. I kind of enjoyed it, but there was a lot of cooking, where this is so simple. It just takes cooking almost out of the equation. But the vegan diet was fine, but it just wasn't sustainable for me at the time. Whatever reason, I got off of it, and I started eating a little bit of meat again. And I started feeling a lot better. But I think it's up to each individual. I'm not saying, hey, carnivore's number one. It's helping me as far as I can tell. So anyway, if you like this, again, subscribe to the channel. If you look forward to getting more content from the Philippines and Philippines-based content, retirement in the Philippines content, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.